Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Tuesday, the 28th of February, 2023. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Let's jump into it. Story number 1. The S&P ASX 200 closed up 0.5% today to 7,258 points. But for the month of February, the market was down 3%. Of course, it surged around 7% during January, so the pullback during earnings season is not really a surprise. And if you take the market over the past 3 months, it's pretty flat. The fortunes of the iron ore miners turned somewhat today, with Fortescue rising nearly 3%, BHP was up 1.5%, and Rio Tinto was more than 1% higher. The banks were generally lower, though both National Australia Bank and Macquarie eked out gains. The energy companies had a good day, with Woodside up more than 2% and Santos closing 1.6% higher. Goodman was another strong performer, up nearly 2%. Story number 2, retailer Harvey Norman's share price tumbled 7.5% today to $3.85 after the group said sales fell sharply in January. But the ever-optimistic chair, Gerry Harvey, says Australia is not headed for a recession. Net profit at the group dropped 15% in the final 6 months of 2022, and the company will pay a lower-than-expected dividend. Gerry Harvey said the company was feeling confident it will be okay, but not great. He said finding workers was tough, and no matter what the media says, there's still plenty of money in the community. Professional investors highlighted larger than normal inventories at Harvey Norman and weakness in post-Christmas trading, hence the sell-off. Harvey Norman is just the latest retailer to suggest a slowing in the economy. JB Hi-Fi, Coles and Woolworths have all said something similar, so do smaller operators like City Chic and Adore Beauty. Story number 3, it was the final day of earnings season today and plenty of smaller companies reported. Cement group Adbury said full-year profit was down 12%, sending its share price off 7%. It also warned it may have to close one of its biggest plants unless the government changes its proposed safeguard mechanism, which apparently will guide big polluters on how much they need to reduce emissions. Silk Laser's share price jumped 13% after it delivered a big jump in profit. The group said consumers were placing a higher priority on Botox injections and beauty treatments than buying a new dress or jumper. Tyro Payments earnings came in ahead of expectations and its share price rose 1%. Regional and domestic airline Regional Express said it had trimmed its interim loss to about $17 million, and bookmaker PointsBet said its interim statutory loss worsened to $178 million. It's doing okay in Australia, but not so in the very competitive US market. Its share price fell more than 10% today. Story number 4, Federal Workplace Minister Tony Burke has asked state and territory ministers to fast-track a ban on the domestic use of silica, following its link to a deadly lung condition. An estimated 60,000 workers have been exposed to silica dust generated through mining, construction, building and manufacturing. Kitchen benchtops made from engineered stone are particularly dangerous, with about 1 in 4 stonemasons who work with them developing the deadly and incurable disease silicosis. And finally, story number 5, after 945 days, Hong Kong has dropped its mask mandate from tomorrow. Leader John Lee hopes the change marks the end of the prolonged COVID era that damaged Hong Kong's economy and standing in the world. He said the city-state is returning to normalcy and the focus now is on the economy and development. And it's kicking things off with a bang. Next month, Hong Kong will host a massive music festival, an international art show, and the traditional rugby sevens tournament. That's it for the afternoon report for Tuesday, the 28th of February, 2023. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Wednesday edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.